Do you feel connected now? Do you feel a better connection? We are here this morning because we are working on connectivity for the 21st century in the Church of God in Christ, and specifically in the women's department. And so today, we pray God's continual blessings, and we honor our General Supervisor, Mother Barbara McCoo-Lewis, our General Supervisor Emeritus, Mother Rivers, and our First Lady, Lady May. Let's applaud our leadership for the women's department. Close your eyes for a moment. Really close your eyes. And see if you can think about, or if you remember the dream you had recently. The dream that really stimulated you to do better. The dream that said you must upgrade. The dream that said you must move forward. What was that dream about? Was the dream, open your eyes, say, was the dream to me as a Sunshine Band leader saying, I have 25 children, but really by the end of the year, my dream is to increase that number. Yes. Or are you a YWCC president who says, we have 50 women in our church, but only 10 come to the YWCC activities. Lord, I need a dream. Is it with the hospitality? Where people say, well, hospitality, as hospitality workers, people think, well, everybody doesn't see us. They don't really know what we do behind the scenes. But if you're a hospitality president, you need a dream. And the dream is not always that you have to be in the front all the time. The dream is that you're going to upgrade, that you're going to move forward, and that you are going to recognize the need for a change where you are. So we dream because we can be effective in positive ways. We dream because we recognize the need for definite upgrades. Why? What is a dream? A dream is the God-given gift to see things that are not as becoming a reality. So it's not here. Nobody really sees it but me. It doesn't seem like it's possible. Nobody's ever tried this, but I believe it can become a reality because God gave it to me in a dream. And so, what are some things that have happened in your life that you know God gave you the dream, and you have to move from taking the dream to the embryonic stage, to just dreaming about it, to implementing it? Because some dreams that we have, sometimes nobody else has heard of them before. So in our jurisdiction, in the women's department, I had a dream because as you go around the churches and as you visit anniversaries and you go to activities, you hear people saying things like, I'm depressed, I'm on a lot of medication, nobody likes me in my church. And I even started hearing pastors say that they didn't even have friends. So my dream was to have a mental health coalition, which really, when you use the word mental health in our church, is a stumbling block in the beginning. Wow. Now, we will go to the doctor to get eyeglasses. Wow. We will take our medicine for our heart problems. We will take our medicine for arthritis. We will go and get a crutch if we need to walk. But if you say, have you talked to a counselor? Have you notified a therapist? we back up and say all you need to do is pray. But if that's the case, then you just take off your eyeglasses. And so when we first started that dream, what I did was I prayed and I asked the Lord, and I was really listening to Mother Lewis as she was telling us in our informational meeting on Sunday morning that you pray and you wait and you ask the Lord to give you what to do. So I started looking around in our church, in my jurisdiction. We're in Kansas, in the middle of the United States. I do not live where Dorothy was. But I do have a district missionary here who lived where Dorothy lived. So I started going all over the jurisdiction, and I found out that we had clinical psychologists, we had clinical therapists, we had counseling social workers, we had people who had degrees in educational psychology, we had nurses who were going to be proactive and who were involved in being advocates for the mentally challenged. And not that people were just going off completely, but when you are depressed a lot, you need help. I don't mean I'm you know what, they didn't call my name in church and I'm not going back for 2 nights. I don't mean that kind of depressed. But you're depressed because of life situations and challenges, and you don't know how to pull yourself up. So I got this group together, and the Lord showed me how to put this group together. And when we first started using the word mental health, that people were a little shy. And then the more we started doing things, doing activities, we had a community activity where people came in from the community to get our booklets, to get our information. So I'm thinking, well, that's good, because our presiding bishop was saying go into the communities. And so we began to do that, and now we're in our 3rd year. And we had one superintendent who caught the vision because the president of the Mental Health Coalition is in his district. He caught the vision, and instead of having a Sunday school review in his district meeting for a class time, we all ought to go to Sunday school. And you don't have to have a Sunday school review during your district meeting. So what we did, he said, I'm going to have that for a learning session. And this district moved forward, and they had a presentation. We have a chaplain, a certified grief chaplain. She came and talked. We had the substance abuse people. Do you know when we're bringing people from, we're saying it's all about souls, when we bring them in, do you know they still need help? They still need assistance. And so this district superintendent allowed that to happen in his district, and then the pastor started coming to me saying, thank you, because now I know where I need to go. Because my sister died, and I couldn't even tell anybody my feelings because I didn't have a best friend. And so now here we are this year in AIM. They're asking the Mental Health Coalition during the AIM meeting, what we're going to do is we're going to do a teacher training session. We're going to train the teachers in AIM to look, these are the signs, these are the symptoms for girls who are suicidal. These are the symptoms for young men who are about to be in gangs. These are the symptoms of abortion aftermaths. That topic is dear to my heart because in Wichita, teenage girls can leave school without their parents' permission. They can get a counselor to go take them to the abortion clinic over their lunch break, and when they come back, after 4th hour, they have had an abortion. So did you know that there's an aftermath? That's right. And so we're teaching them because sometimes when kids get in other environments, like during AIM, the teachers come and say they've heard a whole lot of stuff, a whole lot of things that we need to know about so that we can be relevant, so that we can take our plans from a dream to implementation. So now this summer we're working with the AIM teachers so that you will know this. These are your symptoms. These are, you know, there's a lot of dating violence, don't you? Do you know that your daughters are going out and they're getting slapped around on their dates? If they don't do as the boyfriends like. So we have all these, and now the Mental Health Coalition is really flowing. And so now, you know what? And the way we did that is because the people who are presenting the new idea must exhibit passion. If you're the Sunshine Band leader and you don't dream about children, eat about children, wake up thinking about children, they need another Sunshine Band leader. If you are a Sunshine Band leader and little kids get on your nerves touching you and touching your hair and coming up touching your earrings and saying, where'd you get that dress? And you don't like that kind of talk, then that's not your age level. You have to have a passion about what you do. If you are YWCC, you ought to everything, you ought to have a library full of books on how to help young women, how to counsel young women, what to do when young women are in trouble. And the thing that we have to have a passion about is that we have to be relevant. So now we were talking about teenage pregnancy, and I'm still going to talk about it because I don't want the girls really to be pregnant. That's what purity is about. And that's what our mission is about. Yeah. But since I know now that some of them have been pregnant and we will never find out until we send them to counseling and they find out they've had 2 abortions. So now you have to be relevant. Oh no, she's never been pregnant. Yes, she has. Nobody knows it but her. So you have to be relevant. You have to bring things to fruition. You have to be the value, the giftedness in others. Do I know about being a clinical psychologist? No, my degree is in school administration. It is in staff development, training, leadership. It is in educational psychology, but not clinical social work, not a clinical psychologist. So I went and got those people. And so even if you want your dream to work, you have to empower other people. You have to value the giftedness in others. You cannot be jealous because they know more than you and you're the leader. People do not follow you because you're the first lady. They do not follow you because you're the supervisor. They don't follow you because you're the district missionary or the Sunshine Band leader or the CWC leader. They follow you because you connect with them. You know how many children they have. You know when their birthdays are. You know when their anniversary is. And when people connect with you, they trust you. Trust itself will almost bring about implementation. You have to be a really good communicator, and you have to engage in all kinds of ways by being visible with your physical presence, with social media. You have to relate your topic so that everybody will understand it. And you have to develop your own unique style. You cannot be like anybody else. You are you, and you need to be glad you're you. Tell your neighbor, you are you, and you ought to be glad you're you. How do you go about moving from dreams to defining your vision? Just like I told you, tell stories. I can tell you, those were 2 stories. I can tell you a story about how we say that we're outreach and inreach, but when I got the team together and I looked at the women's department, there was no training. I mean, we needed training. We needed to be relevant with books and with topics that really pertain to women. So we just don't have meetings to say, A, B, C, D on the program. Because you can email somebody a program, but you need a face-to-face meeting to say, we are going to be better leaders. Let's read this book by John Maxwell. We want to be better leaders. Let's read the books on the 5 essential qualities of leadership. Let's have a book study. That's what we're about. That's what moves your dream to implementation. What do vision casters look like? We look like we recognize that people are more important than anything. People are more important than positions. People are more important than titles. People are more important than accolades that we think we have to give and that we have to hear. It's all about people. If you do not have people, your dream will not come to fruition. Because vision casters unify everybody. They unify, Lady Gibson, baby boomers, you're right. They unify millennials. They unify Generation X. They unify the golden agers. Everybody in the women's department has to be together. We have to celebrate each other. We need each other. We ought to pray for each other. And then because we are women and we get into little scraps and little arguments and little fusses, we got to forgive each other. You develop the vision, and you let all the people who are qualified do the vision. So we have a Caring in Action group, and every month the women's department does something special. Every month they are assigned to do in-reach and outreach. December is for giving milk to the Treehouse, which services low-income mothers. So we give milk, we give Similac, we give diapers. 1 month is for one of our restoration centers, where most is pretty much 90% African American, where they have not finished high school. They need anger management. The men have been locked up. And the thing is about this is when we went there and gave them their first graduation reception, the men actually cried because they said nobody had ever given them a certificate in a frame. Wow. So you have to start getting people involved that will move the dream. You have to grow leaders by developing a relationship first. Now in Wichita, Kansas, in Kansas Southwest, they know what my mantra is. Before you correct, baby, thank you for being on hospitality, but that dress was too short. You needed to do this. You need to take off that. You need to put this on. Before you correct, or before you collect, even for the supervisor, you haven't even asked them how they're doing. How are your children doing? Did you go to your grandson's graduation? How'd your little grandbaby do? Before you collect, before you correct, you must first connect. If you first connect, you won't have to worry about collecting. And really, even if you do have to correct, you really won't lose those people, because you have connected with them and they trust you. Our job really is to mentor and convert followers to leaders. Don't be afraid of your job. Somebody has to take over my job someday. I want all the young women to say, what does it take to be a supervisor? What did you do when you were a district missionary? I even want them to say, what did you do, Mother Taylor, when you were the local Sunshine Band leader? We have to convert them to being leaders. Then as leaders, to really move the dream forward, you can't walk around with a chip on your shoulder. You have to be self-reflective. If you have 100 participants and 80% says that wasn't a good idea, I can't help it if you stayed up all night long working on it. It wasn't a good idea. was meeting with one of our symposium groups for the Women's Convention, I thought it was I thought it was a brilliant idea. And so I met with the group, and when I finished, they were like, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. All right, mother. I'm like, well, let's just have some discussion here. What do you think? How do you feel? What other ideas do you have? And one of the people on the committee gave me an idea about the symposium that turned it upside down. And I could have told them, I prayed about it, I stayed up all night, I wrote all this out. But I don't think it would have turned the symposium upside down. And so you have to be reflective, and you have to be truthful with yourself. And then we have to evaluate everything we do, and we have to listen to evaluation from others, and we have to encourage followers to do so, and then we have to encourage ourselves to change. You look for people who are open and willing, and who really want to learn skills and behaviors. When I first started meeting with the district missionaries, when I became supervisor, they had never had a book study. They had never read books. They'd never discussed books. They'd never talked about women's issues. And I said, well, we are. And then, you know what? It's a change. So a couple of them said, well, the only thing I read is the Bible. I said, well, I read the Bible too, every day. I said, but we're going to read some other books. And I said, you know what? You don't have to read it, because I'll bring the books to you. But do you know what? After a year, she raised her hand and said, now, where did you get that book? I think I need to go buy that book. That's good. And so you celebrate every step. You're not going to transform overnight. You're not going to transform in 6 months. It may take you 2 years, but keep working until you see the dream come to fruition. Because where there is no vision, people perish. So we're going to cooperate, collaborate, and celebrate. So I want you to tell two people, before you correct or collect, you must first connect. Before you correct or collect, you must first connect. We're going to cooperate with each other. We're going to collaborate with each other. We're going to celebrate every step of the journey. And right now, we're going to stand up and we're going to celebrate that all of us have a dream, that we have a vision, that where we are when we go back to our local churches, our districts, our jurisdictions, that the people will not perish. Yes. Because as leaders, we have a vision, and we're going to have a number one vision. We're going to have a vision that's doable. We're going to have a vision that's workable. We're going to have a vision that's reliable. We're going to have a number one vision. So turn around to three people and say, go tell what your number one vision is.
Go tell what your number one vision is.
Go tell what your number one vision is. Go tell. You're going to have a number one vision. And since God gave it to you, it's going to work. Clap for yourself and say, I am a visionary.
I am a visionary.
Bishop Blake said, I see you in the future. And you look much better than you do right now.